It's Frank Tyson's attorney, Joe Tacopina. Thank you both for being here very much.
Thank you.
Let's start with your meeting the accuser, what you know about John Doe. When did you meet him?
Several years ago, about maybe 4 years ago I met him.
Okay.
And one thing I'm very upset about is this one person has an alias named John Doe. Why don't they say his name? Why is it always Michael Jackson's name in the media having to get distorted?
That's a big debate. The Kobe Bryant case, you're talking about the female accuser. There have actually been some newspapers in places that print the names, so the name has been out there on occasion. But you're right. It's a bit of a double standard.
It's a problem because subconsciously you watch the media day in and day out. You're hearing Michael Jackson this, Michael Jackson that. What about this family? Who they're really the problem.
Okay, given that, let's go forward on that, because certainly that's the defense in this case. And they have been portrayed very effectively, some might say, by Tom Mesereau, as grifters. That this is a con job, they're in there to get Michael, they want money. What is it about the accuser that leads you to believe he could pull that off?
The accuser?
Yeah.
It's more the accuser's mother.
Of course, he's got to testify. He's got to keep up the sham if it is one.
But they have a constant history of manipulating the truth. It is a proven fact. It's nothing. The kid even admitted it, that the mother told the kids what to say and what not to say. It's a proven fact.
Talking about the JCPenney's
case. The JCPenney's case.
Yeah. And if I can just jump in, from a legal step, I was in the courtroom the day the paralegal testified from the law firm that represented the accuser's family, and in that JCPenney litigation, and that was a witness who didn't come to the courtroom with an axe to grind, didn't come with a cross to bear, didn't know Michael Jackson, didn't know the accuser, didn't know any, wasn't really with a bias or a motive, didn't have a lawsuit, came there and said three things that were so poignant and telling, and really I think summed up the defense. One, the mother admitted to her that she'd perjured herself under oath and had a propensity to do so in litigation. Two, she fabricated evidence in that JCPenney litigation, the pictures and the photographs and so on and so forth. And three, and most importantly, and this was the part that I think is relevant to the question you asked Frank, she admitted that she coached her children to lie under oath to get the story straight.
According to the paralegal,
who, quite frankly, was unimpeached. Which is not impeached because she didn't have a bias. She didn't have a reason to make that up. And if that's believed by the jury, it's going to be a tough one for them to overcome, I think, the prosecution.
All right, let me get back to the question, because the mother, even the state gets up and argues she couldn't string two sentences together. She was off in various fields of play. But the kid, if they believe the kid, he's going to get convicted of molestation.
The kid is lying.
But what is it about the kid that convinces you he's lying?
What about it? Yeah. I know him. I know his family. I know the whole situation. I was there, hands-on. I saw this as a mother who had very much control over her kids. And let me tell you something about this kid in particular. This is not a kid who you can push around, manipulate. He's a tough kid. He is absolutely a kid from the street. And I've always said this. Anyone pushes him, touches him, in any inappropriate way especially, he's be the first one to knock the person out or separate himself from the situation, because he is not like that, this kid.
Okay, then why do you think he'd be sleeping in the bed with Michael?
Why?
Yeah. I mean, tough kids don't want to be looked at as homosexual. They don't.
Let me tell you something. I was there. This family, Michael, has never, ever invited anybody into his room to sleep. Never. He never said, hey, come in my room tonight, sleep with me. He's not like that. He's never said that.
But if they ask, he's okay.
Now,
is that it?
In this situation, they asked, can we stay with you? Can we stay with you? The first night they wanted to stay, Michael pulls me aside and says, Frank, I don't trust this mother. If they're staying in this room, you have to stay in this room with me. And like I said, they slept in the bed. Michael slept on the floor here, and I slept on the floor here.
What about the other nights?
The other nights?
Mm-hmm.
What other nights?
The other nights the kids testified that they actually slept in the room.
Well, I'm going to tell you, if they slept in the room, there was always somebody there with them. He was never allowed to stay in that room alone because of the worry about the mother.
And remember how the video was spliced in the Bashir documentary? I mean, they cut out the part initially where Michael says there's nothing wrong with sharing your bed. And the next sentence was, he would sleep in the bed and I would sleep on the floor. I mean, I think that's been consistent.
Yeah, but wait, we can debate that. But hold on, let me throw this out there. We know that he slept in the bed with Jordy Chandler. We know that he shared a bed with Brent Barnes, according to Brent's sister, 365 days in a row. So this is not not G one time, somebody on the floor and somebody in the
Can
back.
I say something? Now, I understand, and I really do understand this, from the perception of the media, from the perception of the outside society looking in at this. You know what? Absolutely, red flags are all over the place. I'm going to be the first one to say that. But you know what? I know this man. I've known him for over 20 years. Whether his way of life is different from everyday societies, which it is, because of the experiences that he's experienced throughout his life, being protected and sheltered and being babied, I have to say, being babied all through his life. You know, he has a lot of faults, this man. And I'll say that he has a lot of faults, and there's a lot of things that I disagree with him on. But I wouldn't be on court TV at 24 years old putting my reputation on the line if I had an iota of doubt that this man was a pedophile.
Let me ask you why then, because you, as I understand it, you met him at age 5. He began calling your dad. Next thing, you're visiting Neverland, doing sleepovers with Michael.
Well, you say sleepovers, that's what the automatic reaction is. It's not like every time I was at Neverland I'm staying in his bed or room, no. I mean, that's what you're saying, and that's what the media is trying to portray.
Did you ask to stay with him, or did he ask that you stay with him?
At the time, no.
At age 5,
no.
you wanted to sleep with him.
No, I never slept in his room at age 5. That's what you guys are saying. No, I never slept in his bed or in his room at age 5. When I slept in his room, it was like 16 or whatever. But it's not like that. It's not like, okay, I'm going in his room and I had to worry about anything. No, it's like sleeping with your college roommate. It's like sleeping with your friend. And you know, it's very difficult, and which I understand from the outside looking in to understand that. Because they're not there. They don't know this man. And I think it's wrong that the media and everyone is portraying him just because his thoughts and the way he acts. And like I said, a lot of it he brings upon himself. But he is not a pedophile.
Do you ever ask yourself, and you said, you know, he's got flaws, do you ever ask yourself why someone, you were 5, he was 27, and now we're talking about 12-year-old when he was...
Excuse me, 27?
He was 27 what time?
But you're saying I'm sleeping in his bed?
No, I'm talking about age difference. I'm talking about age difference. The friends that he seems to be closest to, the people that he develops relationships with, are boys very young. By the time 12, 13, kind of moved on, he's moving on to other relationships. What is it that has, I'm going to suggest, retarded his development then? If the people he's closest to and that he wants to spend that kind of time with are boys of that age. Why?
No,
You tell me.
Not necessarily. Yes.
A
lot of them are.
Yeah.
But you're stereotyping this man.
No, I asked you a question. I'm not serious. I said, why do you think that is? Why do you think?
Why do I think? And it's very difficult for anyone to answer that question.
Give me your best shot.
My best shot is this man, since the age of 5, experienced a life that I don't think not one person in this entire world can relate to. Not one person. And from all the different experiences that he's had, which I can't say, you can't say, the world cannot.
So you really don't have any explanation other than, gee, he had this very, very different life, and so he's a very, very different guy, and therefore he spends a lot of time with young boys.
$1,000 in cash.
But what happened to the money?
It wasn't his money. It was given.
No, I understand, but it was a check to cash. Why did it happen?
If Michael Jackson wants $1 million in cash, guess what? Michael Jackson can have $1 million in cash. Why does the world have to question why this man wants $1 million in cash?
Because he has been indicted on felony charges.
This is before. This is before.
You know darn well, Mr. Prosecutor, you were once upon a time that if you want to try and argue your recovery, you want to try and argue interest, you're going to say, wait a minute, these guys have all been paid off. It's an argument.
Yes, no, I understand that, but I got to tell you, I read the summation. That was not an argument. The prosecution carried in summation. They sort of abandoned that argument. That was what we heard was going to happen. That was not an argument that they pursued in this summation at all. Why? Because there's loose strings all over the place. There's no evidence that Frank Tyson got and kept that money as a payoff. There's no evidence because I think they know that that was given to Michael in cash for Michael to have his spending money. Look, there's some things that we cannot. Yeah, I know, but I don't have a merry-go-round in my backyard either, or a Ferris wheel or whatever else everyone has in Neverland. You know?
But at the same time, why does this man have to justify?
For those reasons.
Well, for the reasons Catherine said, I understand the question. I do. Catherine, it's a fine question, but it wasn't even one that was carried by the prosecution in summation. They abandoned it. So it's all these little things that we heard about that never came to fruition.
Did the DA ever come to you and try to make a deal? Try to get you to talk to him? Did you ever talk to him?
That would be my question because...
Well, then I'm not going to ask you. Go ahead. Did the DA ever come?
We offered our testimony with the same protection that everyone else would get going into a grand jury, which is called immunity, right? We were not given immunity. We were offered a limited immunity, which is basically what they call a use immunity for that particular proceeding, that grand jury proceeding, which did us no good because at that point there was no question in my mind Thompson and his prosecutors were going to believe that the mother was not being truthful. I believe that they married that horse and they were going to ride it. And quite frankly, having my guy go in there and give a sneak preview of our defense, which quite frankly we never had to roll out.
And you're right. That's what they wanted to see.
Right.
Any other, and this one's for Frank, any other 45, don't you be whispering, 45-year-old male facing these charges? Joe, we're facing these charges.
I'm 39, first of all.
Oh, I know, you're just a baby. Frankly, you'd expect a conviction, wouldn't you?
Would I expect a conviction? No, it's very difficult because nobody knows this.
No, I understand. I'm saying, Michael, and you're right. He is in another planet. He's in another world. But if it was the average 45-year-old up the street, given these circumstances, would you think the jury was going to convict?
How do you distinguish the average person in the world? How could you judge anybody in this world for their actions? Have you lived their life and experienced it? No. I'm not saying, excuse me.
No, and honestly, that's a tough question for him to answer, even if he's trying, and I wanted to try. It's a tough question because you know why?
I think most of the people from Jesse Jackson on down going,
there's no other 39 or 45-year-old people who have that lifestyle.
That's why I'm asking you. Set aside the eccentric character.
Someone who didn't give multi-millions and billions of dollars to children and live his life as if he were still a 13-year-old and had a regressed 13-year-old, maybe an issue going on in his head and all that stuff. If it was just a 45-year-old banker who came home, of course. But that's not what you have here.
Right.
He's not on trial for being weird, being different, being maybe, retarded as far as, not in the sense of retarded, but being retarded in age or regressed.
Yeah.
He's not on trial for that. We have to keep our eye on that ball.
Okay, one final question. I understand he's already contacted you. Get on a plane, come back. Do you intend to be back at Neverland with Michael the time the verdict started?
Hey, we're going to see what happens, and we'll probably discuss it after this. But I want to let you know that this man is a human being. He has a family. He has a mother going in and out of this courtroom every single day, a 75-year-old mother. Do you think it's hard for the family?
Of course not.
I just wish the media would, put maybe for a little bit, try to put themselves in Michael Jackson's shoes and the family's shoes. I have my mother crying every night. I go to her and she's sad by this, first of all, on how they're perceiving me. How they're perceiving a man that we've known for over 20 years who's definitely eccentric and different. But he's not a pedophile. And not excusing him for his faults, because he has a lot of faults. And there's a lot of things that I disagree with him on. But I wouldn't be here at 24 years old, who everyone's told me, stay out of this, Frank, you're young, you have a bright future ahead of you, I'm already moving on, working on a lot of interesting projects. And I wouldn't be here if I thought that man was a pedophile.
Okay, well, final thoughts. Any members of families, just like the Peterson case, the poor Petersons, Lee and Jackie, it hurts everybody. Charges alone, guilty or innocent, people are devastated by this all the time. But final word, Michael's very lucky to have you. All right, Frank Tyson, Joe Tacopina. Much appreciated, Joe. Now, coming up next, we're going to go back to